Yeah, a short video on what's happening in Mississippi County economically. I've been here for 5 years. I see the decay. So this is my view on it. Why ACT prep will lead to a better economy. Done some research on what drives small cities. And I can find one on counties, but it pretty much applies to everything. First one, of course, develop the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So you got to have one uh, money, right? The resources to start a business, and two, you have to have customers and other things to buy your business and participate in your business, right? That human investment and the economic growth, you got to be committed to growing this thing. And let's talk about Mississippi County. I don't see it. I don't see any of these things. Strong social capital. No, I don't even know my neighbors. I live in Blytheville, but we'll talk about that later. Um, but I'm not connected to this place, the people here. Quality of place, just go through Blytheville. You tell me about the quality of it. Dedication to progress. It seems like the city and the county is just accepted. Oh, this is the way it's going to be. Wilson might be the exception, maybe Manila, but generally, no, it's not happening. So what's happening, right? Mississippi County has a lot of steel mills. It's got a lot of factories. It's got all kinds of opportunities, right? But key people in the factories, people making the big bucks, don't live in Mississippi County, or if they do, they spend it somewhere else, right? We make our money here, but we take it out of the county, and I'm a perfect example, right? I by the time I leave Mississippi County, I'm going to suck about 700,000 bucks out of this county. I'm putting less than $2,000 a year into this county. Right? I just don't spend any money here, right? I just take, I don't give. And I just brainstormed on top of my head. I think there were 21 people in this county in key factories, probably making over 100,000 bucks that don't live here. They live somewhere else. They're not spending the money. So that's over 2 million bucks a year being sucked out. And that's just off the top of my head. I'm sure it's a bigger problem than that. Well, what you need to do is to have that money stay in the county to stimulate the economy. If it's spent somewhere else, it doesn't help Mississippi County very much. I'm from White County, Michigan originally, so I'll spend my money in White County on the weekends. Take whatever I make here during the week, take it to White County, and that's where I buy my food, my gas, I buy my beer in Missouri. I don't spend any money here at all, other than utilities and property tax. Nothing, nothing goes here. So what do we need, right? If you have family and ties to the county, the five factors that we talked about in the previous one were more likely to happen. You want people to live in the Mississippi County to make the big bucks, right? Make the big bucks. Yeah, they're working a big chunk of them, but they're not making enough to really stimulate the economy in the way it needs to be stimulated. There's no velocity of money, right? So why don't they come from big salaries? Why don't they come from Mississippi County? Because well, they don't have the skill sets. The factories cannot find the skill sets they need in this county to fill the big paying jobs. Instead, they pay us Yankees, and I'm one of them, to come down here. They pay us big money to run the factories and make money for the factories. We don't keep it here. Said after I'm done here, I'll sell my house for more than I paid for it, and I'll take my cars, my property, and I'll be done with Mississippi County. I'll spend the money in White County, and after I retire, I'll go to Michigan and spend everything I took from White County or from Mississippi County and White County to Michigan and spend it there. Michigan's going to benefit from this. What are the numbers, right? This data comes from the census.gov. So what I did is I looked at the payroll and the retail sales, which gives us a good feel for the velocity of money. In other words, if I make money and I spend it, say, at a grocery store or some retail shop, well, what happens is the person that owns that grocery store or retail shop, they'll take it and they'll pay the employees. The employees will go off and they'll buy other retail stuff. And that same dollar gets spent over and over and over again, right? But, but that only happens where I spend it, right? So I come from White County, so I said, well, White County's doing pretty good, I think. So if you look at this, the payroll is about what, almost 800 million. Retail sales are over 900 million. So White County is doing really good. They got 114.5% retail sales to payroll, right? I looked at a couple of the other ones, Craighead and Greene counties that surround kind of uh, Mississippi County that are doing pretty good. They're over 85%, right? We come to Mississippi County, less than 60%, 54.66. Yeah, that's a lot of retail, or that's a lot of payroll not being spent in the county, right? And without that velocity of money, unless you're on the guess you got money to burn, you're not going to spend it here. And that's just not happening in Mississippi County. By the way, and I don't have any evidence to support this, well, just anecdotal, but the payroll numbers don't include welfare SNAP or any of the other money um, given to people that don't work. But I'm pretty sure even these people, they're going to spend it in retail sales in Mississippi County. I don't think they're going to travel to Jonesboro or any place else to spend their money. So it's actually kind of worse than it actually the numbers show. Oh, by the way, Mississippi County, 21% of the people are in poverty. Poverty, by far the biggest percent of these four counties. So why aren't more people spending money in Mississippi County? And again, I'll go back to those five issues. The people that live here and have commitment and ties to Mississippi County. Why aren't they running the factories, making the big bucks? Well, these are the ACT scores, and some other numbers from Mississippi County. Also, I included PEMSCOT. It just happens to be the number, another county we serve at where I work. They're not good. I mean, Amarillo and Manila are above 20. You got the Delta School in PEMSCOT making 20. A couple others, PEMSCOT County, South PEMSCOT County. But even 20 is not a great score, really, right? Um, Look at the counties. Blytheville and Osceola are the two biggest school districts in Mississippi County, 15. Earl, 15. West Memphis, 17, right? Not good scores. That's not going to get you much. So if you look at the enrollment of these three counties I just had in the previous slide, 9th to 12th grade, there's about 4,976 students. The average ACT score is 17.41. Thank God for those few schools that have a 20. 17.41. So what's that going to get us? Another key statistic, 87.03% of all those students in those three counties are below are considered low income, right? So they're making less than $40,000 in the household, right? No matter what the size of the number of people living in that household. Well, I got this, and these numbers, right? It says these are the best schools in Arkansas colleges. Look at the ACT scores, right? You don't see too many 17.1s or 4.1s or anything like that. Generally, the best schools need the best ACT scores. So these are the four best, absolutely. Look at these ACT scores, right? Um, they're up there, right? Even on the bottom quarter, you got a bit 21s, 24s, whatever. Uh, if you look at this, right, this is important, right? This is why I'm down here, because the math and stuff, the STEM classes, the STEM, that's what we need, right? That's why we're here, because technology needs STEM people, and Mississippi County is just not producing people with those capabilities, just not producing it. So if we take the average ACT score of the students, 85% will be in the bottom quartile. Only 0.6% by random chance will be in the top 25%. That's less than 1%, 1 out of 100. There are probably about 1,200 high school graduates coming out of schools every year. Over 1,000 of those will be below the 25th percentile. Only 75%, 70.4 students out of that 1,200 will be above the 75th percentile, right? Only 7.4. And let's look at the other side of it, the poverty rate, the tuition. This is uh, for public schools in Arkansas. Average tuition is about $7,770, right? Another $1,760 for books. Living costs about $8,800. So your total expenses for a year are $18,343. Again, 87% of the students are low income, right? And that's 17,500 for individuals, less than 32,000 for households. So you got to make a choice. Do I go to school or do I eat, right? And trust me, if they got the ACT scores that they got, they're not getting any scholarships. They're going to have to pay for that. We just look at the financial part of it, right, of the low income. Only about 24 of that 1,200 have a realistic chance of even affording school or University in Arkansas, right? So we got two hurdles. One are the low ACT scores. The other is the financial, right? It's not very good. What needs to happen, and this is what I'm proposing, we teach high school students the skills they need to do well enough to get into. In other words, we teach them the ACT, enough to get a good score on the ACT. Again, they are invested in the community, right? The 5 factors we talked about in the beginning, they're much more likely than I am to do it. We did we taught ACT prep 8 Saturdays last summer, and I couldn't follow up. It seems like most people would improve by 2 or 3 points on their ACT. One guy, he actually comes to the college, and I talked to him, and he actually improved his ACT score just enough to get into UCA, into the computer science program, a real STEM program. I asked him, I said, well, what do you want to do, Dylan? He goes, well, I want to work in Nucor, do some computer science stuff. You know, that's a 6-figure job. I said, well, where do you want to live after you're done? So I want to come back to Blytheville, because that's where I'm from. That's it. That's what has to happen. So Dylan's going to spend 110,000. He's going to live in the community, and he's going to stimulate this economy. Here's the deal, right? Um, I teach manufacturing at ANC, and the graduates will get 40, 50,000 bucks if they get a job. Um, if they get a job, every once in a while we'll get one that'll make 80, 90. Had one even made 120,000. Very rare. Most of them will just come in, and if you're only making that much money that they're making, you're not going to spend it. You're going to do it on the essentials, probably food and gas, automobile, maybe a house if you were lucky. Um, but it's not going to stimulate the economy. And here's the other thing: if I'm making 40, 50,000 bucks, if I do have some discretionary money that I can just blow anywhere, there's nothing able to do it. There's no reason to spend money here. I'm going to go to Jonesboro, Memphis, go somewhere else to spend the money. Again, my own case, I don't spend money here. I spend it in Searcy, Arkansas, not Blytheville, Arkansas, right? And again, there's 21 people I can think off the top of my head that don't live here. They're not spending it here. It has to change. We have to, without that commitment to community and investment in community, both energy and money, you're not going to have a growing economy. You're not going to do anything for this place. Economic development, zero. That's where we are now. Bring in all the business you want, factories and whatever. But if the people that are running those factories, making the big bucks, aren't spending their money in that community, Might as well not have them. Be just like me, I'm going to be all right. I'm just take the money out and run with it. I'm going to retire here in a couple of years. And now, again, I'm going to be okay. But I sure would like to see uh, these students that I have an opportunity. But by the time I get them in college, it's too late. We need to go back to before that. Get them in high school or even get them in elementary. Just it's not happening. It's not happening, and it needs to happen.